bust a cap in your head. All right.
Beer up my nose.
Hello and welcome to episode 31 of the Nonsensory podcast. I'm your host, Evan, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Joe, and producer Colin. Yay!
Woo,
producer Colin. We've recently partnered with the good people at Gaming Access Weekly, and you can find our podcast along with all the latest gaming news, reviews, and editorials at gamingaccessweekly.com. You can listen to us in audio form on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and Stitcher. If you'd like a little more visual stimulation, please head on over to our YouTube page. Like and subscribe and click the bell to receive new notifications whenever we put out new content. You can also find us on Twitter at Nonsensory1, on Facebook at Nonsensory Podcast, and please come join us for our weekly Tuesday stream at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Finally, please support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/nonsensorypod. We have 4 tiers of membership ranging from $1 to $20 and perks ranging from getting to vote in polls to getting to read a personal greeting at the start of our show. It's a blustery day in Western Pennsylvania. And we got the sweaters on. I got the cap on.
Woo! It's cold out.
If you potentially hear a little bit of rattling, that's just my awnings being blown by stupid Western Pennsylvania winds. It's episode 31 of the podcast, which is kind of spooky because October 31st was yesterday and it was Halloween.
Yes.
You like what I did there? Did you get that?
It would have been spookier if it would have been the same day. It's episode 31 and also...
Oh, no, it's still just as spooky. I don't know what you're talking about.
Because today's the 1st. Okay. So...
We're recording this a day early. I promise you. So, Joe, how the hell are you, man?
Life is a bit rough right now, but I'm doing okay. These are always a bright spot in my week, getting to...
Do you want
chat.
to get a little bit into it, or would you rather not?
Having children is hard. It's very hard, and one of the worst things about having children is when they get hurt. That breaks your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And my son tripped and on the steps, he was on the bottom 2 steps, and he I was upstairs in bed. The wife was going down the steps.
This was inside.
Yes.
It wasn't like the
just
outside stairs. Okay.
But we have wooden stairs.
Mm-hmm.
She was going down, and she was like, go back. You need to go downstairs. I told you to stay put, whatever. And he tried attempting to walk backwards, slid and smashed his face and broke off his front teeth. Now, not the whole tooth, but over half of his tooth is gone.
Man.
And then you can't go to a dentist, until Monday. Mm-hmm. And this is Saturday night. So we can't even take him in until tomorrow.
So, what are you doing are you just giving him kids pain reliever?
Yeah.
What's he eating? Giving him mashed potatoes and stuff?
He was basically, he wanted oatmeal this morning and he even barely touched that. He's really not eating very much.
Oh, that sucks, man. I'm sorry.
I knew he was bad when Hazel made him cookies. He was like, oh, I want cookies. And of course, we feel bad. So we're like, okay, well. And so she baked him a couple cookies. And they're just sitting there.
Yeah,
I'm sure they're still sitting there.
Yeah, you can't eat them. Yeah, shit.
That's
awful. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I hope that it's a simple process. Like I said before, I know it's barely consolation, but at least they were just baby teeth.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, knowing how kids are, I'm sure there are. Dentists see this all the time. They have to.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm not worried about them being able to do it. It's just knowing he's in pain this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
That just kills you.
Yeah, that's rough.
So,
well,
how about you?
Things have been good. I started my new job a couple weeks ago, and I've been doing that, and it's long hours, and I'm tired and stuff, but I'm learning a lot, and I enjoy it for the most part. There's obviously frustrating things because I have to manage people now, and instead of just punching in and doing my stuff and going home.
But have they been pretty cool about you taking reins?
Yeah, for the I haven't really run into any like issues with like old people, like crew members that I used to work with, getting like all like, oh, you're not going to tell me what to do kind of stuff. Like nobody's doing that. They're all really cool and fairly supportive and stuff like that. So,
oh, that's good. That's what I would always worry about when I imagined, if I ever, because I when I worked at Home Depot, I actually applied for a management position, and like even before I did, I was like, what's that going to be like if I have to tell these people what to do?
Or
are they going to like give any care to what I have to say?
To reprimand them in any sort of way?
Yeah,
because then they'll be like, well, you used to do this too, and you're just like, yeah, but I don't now. Yeah,
different scenario.
Right. So, but it's been good. I've just been like really tired. It's like long days, and you work long days too.
Yeah.
But it's nice. Like I got like a pay raise, so things are a little more comfortable. So I'm also like thinking like maybe I should buy some more stuff for the studio. Maybe get some more lighting, some stuff like that. So stay tuned on that. Maybe we'll actually have that going on. So, but that's really all that's going on, like personally for me. So the leaves are changing.
Yeah,
it's beautiful out. We had our anniversary.
Yeah. Okay. Dude. Okay.
Me and the wife, not ours.
No. Listen. I feel terrible because Monday was your anniversary, and I broke my phone, and I had every intention of wishing you a happy anniversary and everything.
It's all good. And
my phone didn't get fixed till Thursday, and with everything going on, I never even said anything when I got my phone fixed.
How
like,
dare you, Joe?
No, I'm a bad friend. Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Like, that's awesome. So that was on camera. Yay.
Producer Colin.
How have you been?
How are you, Joe? How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right.
Life. Sometimes no news is good.
Colin's just so easygoing. It's crazy. So yeah, today I thought we'd get into maybe a little bit of Nonsensory recommends, and we also have some more TV related stuff. So you want to get into it?
Let's do it.
All right. So do you want to read the first bit of news since I did the whole introduction?
Absolutely. Assassin's Creed show announced, being developed by Netflix. It's an article by
I think it's Nelly or
Andriva at Deadline.
Yes.
Okay. Netflix is looking to build an Assassin's Creed TV universe. The streamer has entered into a content agreement with Ubisoft to develop live-action animated and anime series based on the international best-selling video game franchise. The first series in development is an epic, genre-bending live-action and adaptation. The series executive producer by Ubisoft Film and Television's Jason Altman and Danielle... I'm terrible with names. Krennic is looking for a showrunner. We're excited to partner with Ubisoft and bring to life the rich, multi-layered storytelling that Assassin's Creed is beloved for, said Peter Friedlander, VP, original series from Netflix. Quote, from its breathtaking historical worlds and massive global appeal as one of the best-selling video game franchises of all time, we are committed to carefully crafting epic and thrilling entertainment based on this distinct IP and provide a deeper dive for fans and our members around the world to enjoy, unquote. Since it first launched in 2007, the Assassin's Creed franchise has sold more than 155 million games worldwide to become one of the best-selling series in video game history. It was adapted as a feature with the 2016 Assassin's Creed directed by Justin Kurzel and starring Michael. In 2017, Ubisoft signaled its plans for an Assassin's Creed TV series. For more than 10 years, millions of fans around the world have helped shape the Assassin's Creed brand into an iconic franchise, said Jason Altman, head of Ubisoft Film and Television Los Angeles. Quote, we're thrilled to create an Assassin's Creed series with Netflix, and we look forward to developing the next saga in the Assassin's Creed universe.
So, before we get into the question.
Well, yeah, I actually had a is it really one of the best-selling series?
Yeah.
That's...
It sells a lot every time, and they've been making them since the start of the 360 generation.
I have a hard time believing that with, like, Madden, Call of Duty,
well, I'm sure those are up there.
Zelda, Mario. Like, how... It's really hard to imagine that it might be up there with them, but like...
Well, like, okay, so the list that they got, right? They made a list. It was like the top selling franchises of all time. And then they included 200 of them. And that's it. It made the list. It's on there.
It's one of them.
But, I've always like appreciated the idea of Assassin's Creed. And I have, I have Unity on my computer, and I have, Origins, the one set in Egypt, and I need to play them just like I need to play all the games that I don't get around to playing. But I don't know, like the Assassin's Creed, like the premise of Assassin's Creed to me is like kind of hokey, where like, like I don't know, it already feels like the games themselves were made based on like something that sounds like a TV show pitch, where it's like,
exactly, yeah,
like you go back in time and you play as your ancestors and fight, in order to fight the Templars in the future and stuff like this. I don't know. It never really sat with me anyways, and I don't know how well it'll translate to like a TV show. But as a series of games, I've always been fairly interested to check out Assassin's Creed. Because like, they're like stealthy until like the later ones. Like they've obviously evolved over the years to where now they're more RPGs than they are like character action games like they were in the day.
Yeah.
But, it gives them, as far as like a template for a thing to do, I think it's great for a series because it can just jump wherever, I
actually think, Assassin's Creed has those like awesome cinematic aspects already. Like the diving after you sink an area from the tower and you dive down into the hay bales and all that stuff, and you do that the eagle cry and everything.
Yeah.
Like it's so cinematic already. The whole thing, and like all the takedowns, the executions and stuff. It's very, I think it lends itself very well to TV show. And there is enough room for intrigue just in the way that they already handled it. Like I haven't played any of the newer ones at all, but I played 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations.
Oh wow, I didn't know you played that many.
I feel like I'm missing, Black Flag.
Did you play 3?
I skipped over 3.
Okay. Like I was saying, their ability to, because of how it's set up, where like they're, you can go to different time periods,
right?
To play, where you play as a different character in those different time periods. Now, I'm not sure. Are you still playing as the same person in modern day throughout the whole series, or is that person changing too?
Not the whole series, but like, I think 2. Revelations, Brotherhood, and I think that's it. Those are all the same guy. That's as far as I know. I can't really speak to the other games.
Right, because the way that it would have to work, right, is that either the same person that's in the future is they're the same through the whole series, and then you go back to different time periods.
I don't know.
Or are they going to switch over from, like new main character every season?
You could do interesting things with that dynamic, because one of the things the TV show will also allow them to do is go even further into the current.
Right.
And so I don't know, there's ways in which you wouldn't have to stick with the same character throughout the entire season even. You could switch it up some.
That's true. I just think that like if they were gonna stick with the same character through the entire series, and then like you played it, or they went and the character that they played like in the past changed every season. I think that would be cool to make you care about the main guy in the future, because like that's part of like the thing about the Assassin's Creed series in general is like the main future character is always kind of an afterthought. Like, it's like you really spend most of your time just playing the game as the
Ezio or
yeah. So I think the only way to actually make people care about the main character in the future during the show would be to make him consistently the same from season to season. But it also would be kind of like, obviously the premise is unbelievable anyways, but like if you were to say like these are their ancestors, so like what does this guy just have like 5, 6, 7 different ancestors that are all like super good warriors in different time periods? Like that's kind of like so.
I actually think what you're talking about is kind of opposite of what the games did, because what the games did was took pardon me one second. It, like you said, you care more about Ezio. Mm-hmm. We're just going to stick with him for now, than you did about the guy in the future who's controlling him. But what you could do that's interesting, I think, is, well, I guess you can't. The whole idea is that it's his DNA. They're looking at his. Okay, so you couldn't have a different person going back to the same character in the past.
Well, they could. I mean, I guess they could fundamentally change how like the animus works, where it's not tied to your DNA and you don't go back to an ancestor. Maybe they can just somehow like simulate you going back.
Well, what I was picturing,
as whoever.
What I was envisioning is that you would have Ezio, and then you could actually have multiple main characters who are going back. Mm-hmm. Or in current time. Mm-hmm. And then you're left caring more about the Ezio character than the ancient character than you care about the current one.
I feel like this would be almost like, this is a weird juxtaposition to make between two things, but like it feels like it could potentially be like a American Horror Story kind of thing, where like they change time periods. But
all the characters are still
the same actors play different characters in all the seasons or whatever. But it's like an anthology more than like a whole series. There is some sort of like, people say that there's some sort of like overarching universe that ties all of them together, but
bogus.
But it really like gives the creators freedom to say like, okay, people are kind of sick of us being in Greece, let's go to Egypt or something like that, and then they can just like completely change it. But you can still bring back most of the cast, and I always like that about, as much as I give American Horror Story crap, as I think it's a fairly bad show.
Yeah,
I do like how they keep the cast fairly the same, other than a few rotating people, and to like see those actors play different characters all the time. It's like, it's cool.
It's a neat idea.
Yeah. So like, I think that would be a really interesting way to go.
One of the big problems that you run into in TV shows, that long running shows, is that you will lose actors over time.
Yeah.
And it's always jarring, especially if you liked the actor. Mm-hmm. And American Horror Story kind of embraces it, that like, yeah, we're bringing in all the same people, but if someone changes from one season to the next, it's not like a glaring, like, who's that? It just fits. And that's one thing that they did right, I think. I think the wrong thing that they did was have more than one season, but anyway.
So the next thing, the next logical place that I think we could hop to is what, with the new Assassin's Creed Netflix show and the CGI Resident Evil show and the HBO Last of Us show and The Witcher being, a huge hit on Netflix already. Like,
and let's not forget about
Castlevania, which is an anime, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Yeah.
What other game properties would make good TV shows? Or do you think they really do you think that going down the well of trying to do we want video games to become the next comic book movies? You know what I mean?
Kind of.
Do you want to see that?
Kind of.
Okay.
Well, no, yeah.
Mass Effect would make see, Colin?
Yes. Thank you,
Mass
Colin.
Effect would make a great TV show. Or would you rather see it now? It would make a great TV show, but you wouldn't want to see it as a movie.
There's too much stuff right
J.J. Abrams directing Mass Effect.
Unless you make it like a 12-series movie, there's way too much stuff for
Yeah,
it.
that's true. Yeah.
And I think J.J. Abrams has done TV shows.
Oh, he has for sure.
So you could still have that.
Whenever I think of Mass Effect as like a movie, I think of like him and what he did with Star Trek. That's all. That's just the first thing. But I think that a Mass Effect TV series would be awesome.
Okay, so should they go down the well? And I think yes. The reason why is because it's like you said, the movie and TV industry is so desperate for like new ideas, and then so like comic
that they need old ideas.
Well, no, they went to they ran through like all the same ideas over and over again, and then they were like, oh, okay, so now we have. Let me think about this here. They went back to let's redo all of our ideas again, and then they were like, well, wait a minute, comic books, dude. Let's do comic books. And then they did comic books to death, and I think they'll do video games to death too, but at least it's new stuff. Like at least it won't be like another retelling of Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, I get that, but I'm not looking forward to, because there's like, I envision it as like a grab bag where like, you know, there could be all these kind of series that I want to see made into film or television or whatever. I don't know if the hand that's reaching into the grab bag is going to be, you know, Marvel.
Take the
or
proper
is it
care.
going to be DC? You know, like,
Right.
and if it's like
Doing justice to the content,
Right,
or
like-
to the IP.
exactly, like if it's you know, like if it's like, okay, the Marvel Studios is going to make this game into a show, and then if DC were to come along and pull out of the hat, you know, Bloodborne, and I'd be immediately I'd be
Devastated.
like, no, not that, no, please, you know,
That would be so bad. It would
yeah,
be, oh,
it'd be
man.
like, wow. So
Okay. Well, now you're into what? So Colin already said Mass Effect.
which is a great one.
What is your top? What would you absolutely love to see?
So, I mean, the top of my list was The Last of Us until they made the series,
right.
or until they're making the series. So I always thought that, and I'm just a huge fanboy, so I would want to see like Bloodborne or Dark Souls made into a series, and not a movie, because it's one of those things where like it's just like slow. The games are slow world building, and I feel like it would need something like a TV show to also do slow world building. And they already do some pretty good like Lovecraftian kind of like they made Penny Dreadful
And Lovecraft.
and so
Whatever that.
Lovecraft Country or whatever it is.
Yep.
Like I feel like Bloodborne would lend itself to a TV show, also in terms of like the budget that would be required, where like you can make scary stuff, I think, on a fairly limited budget, but I worry about like with Mass Effect or something like that, I worry about them having enough budget to make like the CGI for the ships look great and stuff. But it's 2020. Like we're pretty good with CGI now.
I feel completely the opposite when you talk about those two things. We've had Star Trek and Star Wars forever. They find a way to make these ships look good without too much budget. And whereas if you're doing any kind of like, you think about the kind of monsters that are in Dark Souls or Bloodborne, and the level of detail that's on them and what it would take to make them scary, and I worry about how much them having the budget to do it properly.
Well, you watched some of the Witcher series, right?
I didn't watch any Witcher.
Okay.
I read all the books.
So in the Witcher TV series, they have like some gigantic like swamp spider thing that Geralt fights, and you're like, oh man, this could look really hokey, and they do a great job with it. So I think that they could do it. I don't know how much like of the budget it costs for them to have that like 5-minute fight or anything, but
It's probably massive.
it looked pretty good. But yeah, I guess that's the other thing. Is like, who's going to be picking these shows up? You know, like if it's Netflix, like I don't know if I have much of a hope for it, because like they can throw money at stuff, but their track record in like original shows is like pretty bad.
Yeah, they had a good run, and now it seems like they're just really desperate.
Yeah.
Like every show they pump out, it's like we have to do so many of them, and then none of them are really quality.
Like I just
Yeah.
I worry about chasing the dragon of how good The Witcher went over with people.
Right. And like,
But before we get too into it, what's your
okay, so I have two.
okay?
I have two, and I will give my number one, and I think this might be surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Earthbound.
Earthbound.
How awesome would that be? Mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would it work as a show?
I mean, okay, so I mean,
What? Oops, sorry.
it's already kind of. I almost see it as like a almost.
Stranger Things ish.
Yeah, that's kind of because it's a little kid, and weird things happen, and he goes out with his he has like a baseball bat, and like starts going to beat up like aliens and
It's
stuff.
like Stranger Things mixed with like Paranoia Agent.
Yeah,
With that little kid that was like rollerblades with a bat, and he just murders people with a bat. But
I don't
obviously,
think-
it's a good kid. It's not like a
yeah.
murderous.
No,
kid,
no,
but you
he's
know
not. He's not like that. But I think it has a lot of potential.
Mhm.
You could do a lot of things with it. Aliens spawning from a meteor that it hits Earth, and he's going to investigate and fights things off with a bat, makes friends. I mean, come on, like what isn't quality TV with that? And then I actually have another one that I thought of while I was talking about it, because I have two now, two more to say. I was originally going to say Metroid as the next one because, like, dude, it's already inspired by Alien.
Right. Yeah.
So that would be awesome.
Oh yeah. And I mean, people are looking for like strong female heroes and stuff like that. So
Right,
it's like
Samus.
It's a great demographic to go after.
The only thing that I worry about with that is them ruining Samus, because in the Metroid Other M was really bad because they went into Samus's backstory and wanted to try to make her like more personable.
Yeah.
And in the process, totally destroyed her as a character.
Yeah. Sometimes you just don't need to go into characters' backstories.
Yeah.
Like I don't like the
What-
Doom
what-
guy. Like if they made like a touching what
It definitely
happened in
wouldn't be
Doom guy's
touching.
childhood, I'd be like, who cares? Like
But the thing is, like, one of the things that was really great about Samus is that she is the strong. She's basically the James Bond of women, only in space.
yeah, she's
Like at least
stoic.
without the sex. She's just like I go kill things, and I don't talk.
Also
Strong, silent type.
R.I.P. Sean Connery.
Yeah, dude.
But I started to choke on the my lemonade because when you said she's like James Bond in space or whatever. I just thought of like Samus talking like Sean Connery for some reason. Like,
Okay. And then the final one, and I apologize for having so many choices,
No,
but
go
like
ahead.
there's when I said Earthbound and then actually started talking about it, then it brought to mind Chrono Trigger.
yeah.
Dude, how awesome would that be?
I'm sorry, I haven't played Chrono Trigger. I'm a terrible person.
Oh wow. But you at least know.
I know
like-
of Chrono Trigger, yeah.
Okay. I don't think I need to explain why that would be so awesome. But
See-
it's basically along the same lines.
I think Chrono Trigger would make a better anime because it's
Well, yeah.
already
I kind of thought this applied to like whatever format, but just into a
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Oh yeah, because it's already made like the art from way back in the day was done by the same guy that did DBZ. Yeah,
For Chrono Trigger?
For Chrono
Yeah,
Trigger.
yeah, that's true.
So,
yeah.
it'd be cool to like see him get involved with it too and like,
Obviously he's still doing stuff, so
well, I don't know how involved he is with the new stuff, but with like Super and stuff. But
producer Colin has been desperately trying to say something.
yes.
Infamous.
Infamous?
Has
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, like guys with like what was the movie that we watched the one day? The one with Jamie Foxx, where Project Power. Okay, well, okay. Netflix made a TV show called, or a movie with Jamie Foxx called Project Power, and that's as soon as I think of Infamous, I think of that show where like the effects were really cool. Like I've already seen them do a good job with like a smaller budget, like more grounded superhero kind of story with Project Power. So I think that they do a really good job with Infamous, and like like Infamous isn't too dark either in like story terms or whatever. It's like
You never played as a bad guy, did you?
no, but like I mean like Second Son is like very like the Troy Baker plays the main character. I forget the name of Desmond. Like Desmond's like fun, and he's like kind of Spider-Man-y, where he's like always like talking smack and stuff like that. So I think it would be fun. Another one that I've got would be Fallout.
Yeah,
like a Fallout
But I
show
feel-
would be cool, but
I feel like that concept is already overdone. I don't know how well that would work.
well, the post-apocalyptic thing, yeah, I guess. I just mean like the alternate world 1950s apocalypse thing.
Well, if you're gonna go that route, BioShock.
yeah. BioShock, I think, would be a better movie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe. And it would. Okay. Sidebar. I was nostalgic the other day, and I jumped on Steam and I played a little BioShock 1.
Uh-huh.
I forgot how terrifying that game is.
Yeah, dude. That game is real scary.
Yeah, man. And it does it in a way that's not like overly. It's not like in your face. Like there's really, I don't know.
I feel
There's
like
something about the ambiance.
I feel like I get more scared from that game just because of the audio design.
Yes, that's what it is. It's
Because
the audio.
you just hear like these psychos like screaming at you from all directions, and you're like, oh no, and you're like spinning around like trying to fight them. And
They
stuff.
always sound closer than they are too.
right, yeah.
But then it's like, oh, they're far away, and then you turn around and it's like, no, he's right there.
And there's got guys crawling on the walls and stuff.
Oh man,
Yeah, and
that would be a fun game. I don't know if there's any multiplayer BioShock at all. No. Okay, that sucks because that would be a great stream game.
oh yeah, it would be amazing. I'm trying to think of what else.
Shall we maybe?
Yeah, let's move on. To
Let
the
us
next
know
bit of
your thoughts if you've got one that you think like, how can you guys not mention this game? Just go ahead and leave a comment.
Yeah.
Pong.
Pong the TV show.
That's already been done, actually.
it's a mini series.
No, it's Christopher Walken. What's the name of that game? Is that Balls of Fury or what? The one where they play table tennis.
Balls of Fury. Oh,
Whatever.
I mean,
It's
it
the
is.
same.
It is.
It is.
It
That's
is.
what it's supposed to be.
It's real life Pong.
Okay.
It's like, oh my God, the end of the world is coming.
I love your Christopher Walken.
I've got to stop what's happening with these balls. There's too many balls. All right, I'm done.
Okay.
So our next bit of news is Sony is poised to purchase Crunchyroll for almost $1 billion. This is from Sammy Barker over at Push Square. Sony expressed interest in making anime a core pillar of its business, so it's no surprise to see reports that the organization is poised to purchase streaming service Crunchyroll. Nikkei Asia reports that the organization is in final negotiations to nail an acquisition valued at around $957 million, which would make it a global anime powerhouse. The Japanese firm already owns Funimation and Aniplex. Shout out to Aniplex. Full Metal Alchemist. And it would presumably be looking to merge the operations of this trio should the deal go through. Crunchyroll currently has 3 million paying subscribers, but it's the 70 million non-paying members that the organization will be eyeing. Anime is big business at the moment, and the new Demon Slayer movie blowing up at the Japanese box office earlier this month, despite the ongoing pandemic. That, unsurprisingly, is another Sony project. Earlier in the year, the manufacturer hinted how anime can be leveraged to unify all of its core businesses. There are roles for Sony Pictures, Sony Music, and PlayStation here, with the aforementioned Demon Slayer due to get a CyberConnect 2 tie-in game on the PlayStation 4 next year. So that's awesome. I think I mentioned when we were talking before Sony bought Funimation, all Funimation stuff was on Crunchyroll like years ago, and now that they've bought Crunchyroll, now their stuff's like all back. It's like we've transported back like 10 years, where you can just probably get everything. So I think that's pretty cool.
So you'll get hopefully all that stuff back on Crunchyroll.
So I mean, like, if they're really looking to like get into anime as like a large part of their business, like when you have Funimation, everything on Crunchyroll, and Aniplex all under the same roof, like I think of the package of anime that they could offer to customers as like the best deal that could possibly be out there.
Oh yeah.
So like I think it's a great move for Sony. And yeah, 70 million non-paying subscribers is, like, well, they're not paying, but it's also like, think of all the ad money that Sony gets just for that.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's insane. So I guess with that being said, like, do you think, like our talk about movies and games into TV and movies, like, do you
that
think
puts them at a really good spot?
Right. And we've seen the success of like what we mentioned earlier with the Castlevania anime and stuff, and just like, what do you think, Sony properties that they could make into an anime that would actually be like super cool?
I don't know what I think that they have. I'm sure there's tons of property that I couldn't really come up with off the top of my head. I mean, Horizon maybe.
Like, even if maybe they're just going to make like tie-ins with the games that they sell as a way to like promote them, even, like,
just
God of War 2 is coming out. Like, you can also, if you pre-order it, get access to watch the God of War anime or something,
Right. I think there's definitely things that they can do, but I'm just thinking about it this way. They'll have, Sony already has animation studios. Then, I mean, they have gaming properties. They have the animation studios, and then they have the streaming. They literally own every branch of the tree all the way down. I mean, that puts them in a pretty darn good spot.
Yeah, for sure.
They could do something like they do with the Persona series, where they release a game, then an anime, basically of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty tight. I don't know.
I wouldn't. Wait, so they already do a Persona like an actual anime?
Yeah.
Not just the anime in the game, because I know it's very anime already.
There's anime scenes in the game, but they have an actual anime for, I think it's at least 3, 4, and 5.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's cool.
Um,
Not as good as the game, but
So like I could just go down the list. Like, would you watch a God of War anime?
Maybe. I mean, it depends on how they handle it.
Right.
I mean,
Like a Horizon anime?
I don't see how they could mess that up.
Right.
Well, actually, I do. Okay, yeah. I was talking to my buddy. Was it? Maybe it was you, actually.
I think so.
It might have been. We were talking about how it'd be hard to do the dinosaurs without making them very hokey.
Right.
So, they have plenty of stories and side drama and things that can happen, with the way the open world and all the side missions and everything. You could easily fill out a series and make it feel good.
Mm-hmm.
But once you get into fighting the dinosaurs, I don't know.
Like I know that the most recent God of War gets like a lot of credit for like the story that it told and stuff like that, and like how mature it is, and like they build out Kratos' character and his relationship to like his wife and how he's changed, and then he's got his son and all that stuff, and he's like very like remorseful and grim and stuff like that. But really, God of War is just a battle anime. Like, he fights the gods, for God's sake, and they like have like these ridiculous like acrobatic fights with their powers and stuff, and like it's like super violent, and like like even in the new one, like you come across like the Norse god that like confronts you at the very beginning of the game, and you're like, he's like ripping down mountains and throwing them on top of each other. Like, I don't see how you could do that in a regular show, but I could see them being able to animate that and make it awesome and
Oh, yeah, for
actually
sure.
up to the scale that it needs to without being like the most bloated, over budget, ridiculous thing out that you could imagine if you watched it in like. Because I think of like a fight like that as like, did you see the new Superman movies?
Which ones when you say new?
I think the first Man of Steel, where like like the main fight with the bad guy, I forget. So, yeah, was thank you, Colin. Fact checker Colin over here. Like the main fight with Zod, it's just like him destroying like this like their fight just destroys the entire city, and you're just like sitting there watching it like, this is so dumb. like it's so dumb. But like, and I feel like that would be what would happen if you had like a God of War live action show where like, you know, you're supposed to be like a god and you're like trying to pull it off like on a TV budget and stuff like that. I don't know how, I think it would be a little weird, but like, you know, we get that stuff all the time in like DBZ where like, you know, Frieza will just like throw a planet at Goku or something like that. It's just, oh, whoa, you know.
Yeah, they routinely like blow up entire planets. And,
Yeah, like
one of my favorite scenes in any anime ever is Pain versus Naruto, and when Pain makes a moon to throw like that to trap the Ninetales in, and then he bursts out of the moon. Have you not seen this? He bursts out of the moon and sprays flame onto Earth. It's so intense. Oh my goodness, it's like one of the best anime fights ever.
Pain was one of the best villains.
Yes, he was.
So you're telling me that I need to start watching Naruto?
Shippuden is amazing.
I will edit out all the filler episodes because there's a ton.
If
What,
you watch,
you're gonna make me a filler
No,
a filler
I'll
list?
tell you which ones to skip.
Okay.
don't bother. I would say don't even bother with the original Naruto. Just jump straight into Shippuden. It starts out so weak.
Is it like is
so
Shippuden basically like Dragon Ball Z Kai, where it's like Kai was like a very shortened like
Shippuden's basically like a sequel anime to the same anime. It's one
Yeah,
of the worst.
but they're all grown up, and they dropped all. Naruto was like, we'll try to appeal to kids some. Shippuden was like, we're not even going to bother anymore.
So
It's
Naruto
gonna be
was
violent.
Naruto, the original Naruto was like Dragon Ball, and Naruto Shippuden is like Dragon Ball Z, where like, you know, everybody's grown up and it's more violent.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. I'll check it out.
The main story from Naruto, the original series, owes
For
it because
But it starts out like the first 20 episodes, you're like, this is so
Yes.
slow and so boring.
so
Can
much
we
vital
go?
information you need to know, because if you skip the original, you'll never meet Gaara and understand why he's how he is, and that's vital. Gaara's like amazing. You need to understand him.
I don't know.
I feel like we need to get Colin.
We'll do
like an
an
actual
anime
mic.
discussion with the three of us. And yes, give him a mic.
Yeah.
We need to have an anime with a discussion with the three of us.
Yeah,
But
because I'm sitting here like I've never seen Naruto, and you guys are like having a really good conversation about Naruto.
but you can only hear me. Ha ha. Ship it in only. So
I guess that's it for that topic.
wait, hold on. Why did that come up? I feel like there was something else that we were trying to get to. Best anime fights. Big giant oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Because of the scale. Okay, I guess we did. That's enough for that.
Yeah.
You're right.
So I have some things that I would like to recommend.
I have one recommendation.
You have one
but
recommendation.
Let's get to this.
Okay. In terms of games, I would like to recommend this roguelite that I recently played called Noita. And Noita is it's basically a pixel art game where the studio sells it as every pixel is like simulated and every pixel is like interactive. So, you know, all the levels are made of, you know, it's like a side scroller with like magic and combat and stuff like that, and you slowly go down into layers of these dungeons or whatever, kind of like Spelunky, and you see how far in that you can get. But the thing that sells the game for me is the interaction that you have with the environment, where there's like procedural fire and stuff where you can like burn away parts of the environment.
Right.
You can also like fill an area with like acid or water. Like if you make a pool of water, you throw oil on top of it, and then you can like set the oil on fire and stuff like that. I think this is the wrong thing.
Wrong video.
I think we probably let the first one play and it skipped to a different video.
Oops, things got a little wonky. So you were showing me a video earlier. This is good. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get the proper footage up. Yeah.
And the Metroid vibes that I get from this game are just what is up.
Huh.
Go back to the... It's only showing up when you're on the screen.
Huh.
That sucks.
Oh, it's because the window... yeah, I don't know. Either way. Like we said, we're going through a little bit of a...
We're testing out some new stuff.
Testing process. So. But yeah, so as you play the game, you get like new wands and stuff, and all the wands do different things, and it's basically like getting new powers almost. And you fight like swarms of enemies, or like, you know, it's just like a dungeon crawler where the environment is just as much of an enemy as the enemies that you fight, but it can also be an asset to you as well if you like are creative enough in how you use stuff. And it's what is like $20 right now on Steam. And I would greatly recommend it. It's like a 2D Dark Souls kind of experience almost.
I'm loving the Metroid look of it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I also like that it's, you know, like most of it is like, it's like a scrolling shooter too.
Yeah, 2D side scroller
and
shooter.
I'm telling you, the little float that your character can do is like super satisfying.
Just seeing the way that the things interact, just from the short amount that I've watched video wise, it just looks really impressive with the creativity of the environments and how things behave together.
Yeah. And I know that roguelites aren't everybody's thing. And this one is definitely fairly punishing because like all you do is just restart the game the entire time.
Yeah.
And see how far you can get. But these usually aren't my bag. In terms, it's not my bag, baby. They're usually not my kind of thing. But there's something about the physics simulation of the whole thing that makes it like a fun playground to mess around in.
Basically every roguelite and rogue type game that I've ever played, I always just wish they would just let you have a save somewhere. I always just end up wishing, even the ones that incorporate the fact that you die and start over, I just always end up going, why? Why can you not just let me keep going?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that they need to give you that, but it would be cool if the modding community gave you like a mod that let you do that, you know, kind of
please
something like that. Like, cause you know, I play on PC. So if I really wanted to find something like that, it would be cool if I could just like dig that up or like, you know,
that's the great thing about, not advocating any piracy or anything, but when you have an emulator and you can just do a save state.
Yeah.
And so there's no game that you can't.
It makes Contra much less annoying.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to recommend is another game. It's called Baba Is You. Baba Is You is like a puzzle game where the puzzles are all logic puzzles, right? And so as you'll see, Baba Is You, and then you know, there will be different. All the levels are fairly simple. And so if there's like an object in the environment, there's usually a phrase associated with that object in the environment, and you basically just move around the phrases to allow you to interact with things. So if it's like lava will kill you, you can find a way to make it so that lava won't kill you. Or if you want to be like, if you want to be a rock in the environment, you have to change like it to say Baba is rock. And you basically just take these word puzzles and kind of just like logically figure out the best way to make it through these environments. And it starts you out, you know, it's good about starting you out in an easier level and like slowly introducing you to the concepts that are within it, you know. And I don't know, it's really fun. It makes you feel really dumb. Like when you can't figure a thing out, you just seem like you're just like, why won't it
in
work?
that video just then, and it said wall is stop, and then he moves the word and then just walks through the wall.
Yeah.
My brain broke.
Yeah.
What? Wait, huh?
So there was one
I would have never figured that
There was
out.
one that we were playing the other day that we couldn't figure out. That was it's not even, it's because you have to push the words around as the character. So it's also beyond just being like figure out the logic puzzle. There's also like a spatial thing at work where you only have so many spaces that you can move stuff, or only so many ways that you can move stuff, and so there's like just a legitimate rewind button. So like if you do a thing and you're like, shit, that won't work, you just hold in B and it'll just rewind you back to the start. Or you can, I mean, there's like just a menu button where you can just reset the whole level and start it over again.
Right.
But it's hugely trial and error. And I don't know if people, you know, everybody's into that, but like I'm a
totally
huge
about
Super Meat Boy fan, and that game is nothing but trial and error. Same thing with like Celeste. So for me, this is like basically, because when I think of Super Meat Boy and like Celeste, they're platformers, but they're also like puzzle games to me, because you just have to figure out the best way through the level and like the timing and when you have to jump and where and all that stuff. And it's basically the same thing with Baba Is You, where you just need to figure out how to get to the end goal and what moves you need to make to get there. It's like chess with yourself, you know. It's like playing chess against the computer, but also like, computer is you, chess is you. But I would greatly recommend it. It's only $15, and
it looks so good.
it looks like a lot of fun. We're gonna after this episode, I'm gonna make Joe sit down and play some of them.
Yeah. There may or may not be video evidence of it later on.
But I'm excited to I'm excited to see if your brain does actually break. So,
Probably. Okay.
Is there anything you'd like to recommend, Joseph, in terms of games?
In terms of games, no. I don't have anything right now. I think play games. They're great. I'll try to come back with some more next episode.
Joe recommends that you play some games.
Yeah.
In terms of things that I think that you should watch, I know we don't get political here very often, but there's this thing that my friend showed me the other day. It's called Sassy Justice. It's a YouTube channel that's made by the guys from South Park, and it's basically like an investigative news reporting show that they've made using deepfakes. And if you know what deepfakes are, it's basically like they just superimpose the face of somebody over top of they'll like superimpose the face of a celebrity over top of some other footage that they've got, and like basically put them in it like they're there. So they shoot this show like it is an investigative news show, but then they put like the main guy is Donald Trump, basically. Like they just put his face on the Fred Sassy, who is he's the local news anchor who is like doing all the investigations and stuff like that. And so the first episode it's just like meta, because they're talking about deep fakes on a show that's just deep fakes.
I'm loving this so far.
But like obviously, like it being from the South Park guys, like everybody talks in like the most hilariously stupid voices, like Al Gore comes on, like they have Al Gore come on and talk about like global warming. He's just talks like this like Al Gore, and it's just so good. And there's commercial breaks where they have Mark Zuckerberg like superimposed over this dude like trying to sell you dialysis treatment for like $115,000, but he's selling them to you like he's like a used car salesman. He's like, come on down to dialysis place or whatever and get your it's just so good. And like they put Jared Kushner's head on face on like a little kid, and he's like, my daddy-in-law Donald told me this and stuff like that. It's so good. And there was one where they're talking about like how convincing deepfakes are, while also having like a deepfake of Michael Caine tell you how convincing they are. And it legitimately, for like the first little bit, I could not tell the difference. Like the dude's voice was spot on, and the deepfake was perfect. And I was like, that's just Michael Caine. But it's just, if you like South Park, basically.
I will give this a shot.
If you like South Park, watch it. Because it's, the fact that the main guy, Fred Sassy, is Donald, obviously they're making fun of Donald Trump a little bit. But they also make fun of, like, everybody. Like, they're making fun of Zuckerberg. They're making fun of Al Gore. It's like, relatively, like, nothing is off limits. Just like South Park. Like, they're going to make fun of, like, literally everything. So,
I'm all about it.
I would check it out. Now, that sounds bizarre, but the most bizarre thing that I have to recommend is SB Nation's Secret Base YouTube channel, and specifically anything by John Boyes. He does this thing called Dorktown, where they're just gigantic sports nerds who take analytics and stats and just like apply them to like a narrative to sports teams and sporting events and stuff like that. And one of the ones that they did is a 4-hour history of the Seattle Mariners.
Oh, wow.
And I don't like baseball and I don't like Seattle, but I'm like 2 hours into this thing and I can't stop watching it. There's something about the way that they present the information that is like super, super entertaining. Where like I would never have watched this, but like once I watched like 15 minutes of it, it's just earwormed into my brain. And I was like, I need to know more, specifically because like the topics that they choose to talk about, like they're talking about the history of the Seattle Mariners, but the Seattle Mariners themselves are just weird. Like their story is just bizarre. Like so, most of it is like hilarious.
Yeah.
And they'll just dig into all like the funniest stuff because like the Mariners were the worst team forever. They still are. They're terrible.
Pirates?
No, the Pirates, I mean, at least they've won stuff. The Mariners have never won a championship ever. And
okay.
like their first, I don't think they even had like a winning season until like the 90s. And they'd been in existence since like 65.
That's crazy.
They were just terrible. And so the whole time it's just like all the bizarre happenings behind this franchise. And yeah, I don't know. It's, if you're a sports nerd or whatever, or even if you're not, like I said, I don't care about baseball at all, but I'm sitting here watching a 4-hour documentary on the Seattle Mariners. It's just the presentation is incredible. It's like modeled after like a video that you would watch if you were in middle school or in elementary school during the 90s, where like they present like these crude 3D graphs and presentations, but like it's like the one with the Mariners is like over a calendar and stuff, but they'll like zoom the calendar out and in and like have like graphs and charts and like stats and stuff will show up, and they'll like discuss individual players, but they'll also show like footage and stuff. And I don't know. I'm describing it poorly, but like
I'll give it a look.
The way that it's done is great, and they do shorter stuff too. Like if you're not like, obviously, I don't expect everybody to be like, "Wow, a 4-hour Seattle Mariners documentary. That sounds great." But if you do like to watch some like funny sports stuff, they do have like shorter stuff, like 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute episodes that are like look into Ricky Henderson, who's like the all-time greatest base stealer in baseball history. But like my favorite thing that they've done, as a Pittsburgher is they just take like a 15 to 20 minute dump on all of the Cleveland Browns and how terrible of a franchise they are, and it's so funny.
But I heard they've actually been doing okay this season.
Oh, they're doing fine now, like the last couple of years, but like up until even 2017, they've just been so bad.
One of the worst teams. Yeah.
One of the worst teams, yes.
Ever.
And like, you know, again, like all of the stuff that they talk about should be so boring, but it's just not. It's I don't know. Maybe
I'll give them a look.
Maybe I'm giving it too much credit because I am a sports fan and I like, you know, stuff like that. But anyhow.
Yeah, I'll give it a look.
Nice.
So my recommend is I just stumbled across this the other day, and I'm someone. So I started looking at like Japanese construction, and then I found like I was trying to just watch something zen, and I'm watching these. I didn't know this, but like old traditional style Japanese building, they don't use nails or screws or bolts or anything. It's all wood joining.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, they have temples that are thousands of years old that are still standing that have not one nail in them. It's all just how the wood's put together. Mm-hmm. And
it's like like really fancy Lincoln logs.
Yeah. And I'm watching these guys build these houses. And then I went down like the woodworking.
No, keep going.
I went down the woodworking lane in YouTube, you know, and I started watching all these, like I got different, like, how do you make this joint? And then like I started watching more and more of those type of things, and I found this guy who does such a good job of just explaining how to do the stuff, and he like experiments. And it's just really high quality videos on how to, and he does it in a way that's kind of chill and like very satisfactory to watch him do this stuff. And I would heavily recommend watching it, especially since I don't feel like he gets as much traffic as he deserves. Like all his videos are super high quality, and like he's just really good.
Okay,
it's so Matt.
He's working on his own projects, or he's like going over.
No, he works on all his own stuff.
Okay, so he's not like telling you about like the history of a certain building or something like that.
No, this guy is just like making projects. Like he has one where he takes a piece of wood and he finds a way to stain it using like Crayola crayons, and so you get like these eye-popping colors in the wood grain. There's just something so satisfactory about watching him do this stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds really entertaining.
Yeah, Matt Estlea. That
Estlea.
Yes.
Matt is spelled MATT.
If you didn't know.
If you didn't know. Well, I hope that our Nonsensory recommends leads you down a path of finding some interesting or entertaining things that you can add to your own life. And that's going to do it for us today.
If you have something that you just like, okay, we've all been down the like deep dive on YouTube where we just start you know follow like this video goes to this video goes to this video. If you have something you've stumbled across that's just like people need to know about this, put it in the comments.
Yeah,
give some people a shout out.
Well, you know, if there's something that that you think that we need to check out, throw it in the comments, tweet us or whatever, and be like, hey, check this out. I want to hear you guys talk about it, or you know, stuff like that. So,
or if you just think more people need to know about it,
yeah,
because yeah. With that being said, that's all for today. Remember to like and subscribe wherever you're listening. We would like to hear from you, so comment if you like, and you can email us at nonsensorypod@gmail.com or tweet at us at nonsensory1. Also, we stream Tuesdays at 7:30 Eastern Time. We are in the middle of Resident Evil, and it's getting good.
Yes, I will be available for this Tuesday.
Awesome. So we will be doing Resident Evil. Last week we had a little break. We played Portal, and it was... I got to show off how dumb I am. It was great. So please come check us out. Either way, it's always fun at twitch.tv/nonsensory. And if you can, please support us on Patreon at patreon.com/nonsensorypod. Also, head on over to gamingaccessweekly.com and give our friends at GAW your love and support. As always, we love you. Peace.